Audio and sound effects in this video were created using audio.com. Use the link in the description to get 10% off.
Hello everybody, welcome to Filmmaking today. Boyan Dulabic here. So, are you looking for a quick, awesome photo editing app? Stay tuned. So, before we get going, the usual housekeeping. This product was sent to me by Skylum, the company behind all the Luminar products. However, as always, they have no influence on this video. They're not reviewing it before it's being published, and all the opinions you're going to hear are my own. So, let's get started.
Alright guys, so here we are in Luminar NEO. Let's take a look at the interface first before we start editing a photo. Let's start on this side right here. So at the top, if you click on Luminar NEO, that's actually the menu. So you have your basic menu available here under File. You have options such as the catalog, so you can create a new one. You can open an existing one. This application works on a database structure, so you have to create they call it a catalog, but it's a database that has all the information contained regarding the images that you are editing. The images are still in their location, so they're not being moved anywhere, as far as I understand it, but the changes that you make to these images, that's saved in a database. So that's here, and then you've got all these options over here. If we go to editing, you've got your basic functions there. Then you've got image, view, account, and these options here. So basic stuff. If we move down under edit photos, as it says, you can edit, add photos. You can add an image, single image, or you can add a folder. And then if we move down here, you've got your basic image viewing structure. And then further down here, you can add entire folders. So you can have an entire folder structure there. Right now, I only have this one folder, but you could have an entire structure if you just click on the plus here. You can also create an album right here. Again, click on a plus and then just name it whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. And then you could, for example, let's say whatever images you have up here, let's say I wanted these ones here, you could just drag them down here, and now you've got that folder available. Below that, this is the metadata info of the images that you're working with, and you can toggle that on and off by hitting this button here. Now let's move to this section over here. Up at the top, you've got these three categories. Catalog, obviously that's to view all the images. Presets, pretty self-explanatory. And then edit is if you want to edit a specific image. Over here, you can also choose to view the images based on these categories. And then over here, you've got these categories. Up here, you can also change the thumbnail size. So right now, I got to set the small. You can go to medium, large, or largest, which is pretty large. So I like to set it to medium. It's still good enough for me. So let's start editing a photo. We can start, let's say, with this one right here. Go on edit. And now all your settings will be on this side. So let's spend some time and going through some of these features. If you are familiar with editing photos, a lot of this should be familiar. So if we start with develop, you've got all these subcategories here. Again, if you've ever edited a photo, this should all look familiar to you. So there's all that. Enhance, this is if you are familiar with Luminar, the previous versions, again, this should be familiar to you. Enhance basically takes care of the photo. It will enhance certain aspects of the photo, bring up the shadows, and just basically make it look good, right? So if we were to use it here, see how it's slowly bringing up shadows. If you look at the tree here, if I go toggle it on and off, it's working on the contrast, bringing up the shadows a bit. So it's doing quite a few things, right? Let's get rid of there. Sky enhancement, same thing. It will enhance the sky. In this case, the sky is already pretty prevalent, so it's not really doing much there. Masking, that's something I'm going to talk about a little bit later. This has been just included in the latest update of Luminar, which let's just go here. So this is version 1.0.6, right? And there's quite a few things that they added, and one of them is masking, but specifically AI masking right here. And I'll talk about that more in just a few minutes. So let's keep going on about all these things here. So erase, if you want to erase certain things in the image. And they have these object removals here, which work pretty well. Not perfect, but it's pretty well considering. You can remove power lines. So if I had power lines, you can just remove them with one click, or remove dust spots. And then you can remove various things out of images. Structure, if you want to increase the amount, if the image is a little too blurry and you want to increase, make it look more dramatic, you can definitely work on that here. So again, you see there's that. Color, pretty self-explanatory. You can impact certain colors, specific colors, or the overall. Again, this should all look familiar. Black and white, obviously, if you want to convert it. Details, denoise, pretty self-explanatory. Landscape, that's pretty cool actually, if I wanted to just impact foliage. So we've got foliage here. Instead of masking it out or just affecting the specific color, it does actually a pretty good job of just affecting foliage. So if I really wanted to crank this up, it's a little too much, but you get the idea, right? And it works, that works pretty well actually. Vignette, pretty self-explanatory. Now under the creative section here, there's quite a few things. Relight is a new addition to Luminar NEO. They did not have that in the previous version, and it's pretty cool. So if you want to, in this case, the lighting is pretty even, but if I had an image where, let's say, the foreground was not lit very well, or vice versa, the background, you could actually change that here. It's not perfect, but it works pretty well. It does take, at least on my computer, it takes a bit of time to kick in. Oh, no, actually, it's doing a good job right now. So you see how I'm affecting the brightness of near objects. So let's say these stones here, if I wanted those to be more in the light, there you go. And brightness in the far. So let's say this tree, let's see if we can target that tree. Okay, so there you go. And then you can work on the depth here. Let's see if I go somewhere here. So let's see before and after. Again, this image is probably not the best one to show this off, but you get the idea. Let's change all that. Then sky. If you're familiar with Luminar, this is the sky replacement feature, so you can just choose any sky here. Let's just do it quickly. We'll select that one. There you go. And I mean, it does a pretty good job. You can still refine things here. So if we go here, let's go close gaps, see what that does. There you go. It brought back some of these things up here. And what I always like to do is, where is it? Yeah, under sky adjustments, just add more atmospheric haze. It does make it blend in much more with the original image. So again, if we go, you know, I would still obviously tweak it more, but you get the idea. This only took what, a minute to do, right? Which is pretty sweet. And again, let's change that back. Atmosphere, again, if you want to add some fog, all right, do that. And then you've got all these options here again. Self-explanatory. Sun rays, if you actually want to add sun rays. So if we place that, I don't know, somewhere up here. And again, it looks fake now, but you would have to tweak these settings, and you can make it look pretty good if you add just enough, right? And then again, all these options here, which should look pretty self-explanatory. Mood is basically if you want to add LUTs. You've got a lot of built-in ones here. As you can see, you can use your own or you can download from their store right up here. So there's a lot to choose from. So there's that. Nothing else down here that, I mean, again, it's pretty self-explanatory. Portrait is obviously for portrait related things if you want to affect the face and all that. And then you've got these couple of things down here, super contrast, color harmony. So that's it when it comes to the basics. One thing to keep in mind, the way Luminar NEO works right now, unlike in the past. So let's say if I had made any changes here, let's say, I don't know, let's do just a few things here. So okay, boom, I made these changes. The moment I close this main tab here, if I go back to it, as you can see here, it's been reset. Basically what happens the moment you make changes and close it, it goes to the edits tab right here. This is now these are all the changes that I made in the past, and this is the one I just made right here, right? And these are the ones, the previous ones. So if you want to edit, make changes to the edits that you made, you have to go in here. And now this is what we just worked on. Here are all the previous ones. So even though I reset them, they still end up being here. And yeah, so there's, oops, all this stuff. Now, if you wanted to delete something, just click on this button here and you can get rid of all of them, basically. But that's something you have to keep in mind, and it might take time to get used to it, because if I were to go back here now, and again, let's go back to the develop one, and let's make further changes. Let's say, I don't know, we'll boost the shadows here. Now that change that I made, as soon as I close it, go back here, see, we have 2 now. So basically it adds a layer on it, on top of it. That might be something that takes time to get used to, so something to keep in mind, right? Because if you, yeah, go back here, you're not going to find the changes that you just made. So that's that. Now let's talk about the main feature that I want to show off. Oh, before we do that, actually, sorry, I forgot. For each image, you have also this up here. So if you click on the plus, you can add various things to the image. So for example, you've got my images here. So if you wanted to add this overlay, for example, you can work on refining it up here. You can flip it around. You can increase, decrease its size, move it around, that kind of stuff. You can hide it, remove the layer, and then you've got all these options down here. So let's say you wanted to add some flares like this, give it a bit of a vintage look. You could definitely do that on more or less on the fly, right? And again, you can hide it or remove it, and you can add, I don't know if there's a limit, but you can add quite a few of them right here. So there's that. Now let's, I'm gonna, oh yeah, and you can save this as a preset. So if you go to presets up here, these are the presets you have available. So you've got your favorited ones, you've got the ones you create, purchased, and then you have these built in. These are categories. So if you select any one of them, you've got a lot more to choose from. So let's say we wanted this dynamic result one, and that's what that looks like. And there's quite a few built-in ones, which is always nice. So let's go and revert to original. Okay, so let's work on this image. So there's quite a few things we can do to this image, and let's start at the top. So the first thing that I'd like to do, okay, let's go to develop, and if you use the smart contrast one and you push it down, it will bring out certain it will crush basically the shadows. And let's work on this a little bit. So let's say we want that. Let's go down to landscape. Let's bring up the foliage. Okay. Now let's go down here to sky. I don't really like this guy here. There's not much there. Let's use this one here. Let's see what happens there. Okay, so right now it does look definitely fake. So let's work on that. Let's increase the haze here. Okay, looks better. Toggle on and off. Yeah, definitely looks better. Just looking for the branches here just to see if anything that stands out here, but looks pretty good here. Okay, I think that's fine. Now let's go back up here. Let's go under enhance. Let's push this up. There you go, just to make it pop. If we enhance the sky, maybe not too much. There you go, it definitely makes it pop. Okay. We can go to detail, and under small detail, if we just bring it up just a little bit. Yeah, so if you pay attention to this area here, before, after, it just gives it a bit of sharpness. Actually, maybe bring it down just a little. Yeah, just do 5, just a little bit. That's all we need. And now if we do, let's go mood and let's select a LUT. There is one that I like here. Let's see this one. Yeah, it makes it pop a bit more. Maybe not quite that much. We're going to bring it down to maybe 20. Okay. Now if we want to add a little bit of film grain, we can do that here. Let's say 10. Yeah, I think that's just enough. And we can refine that down here, so maybe bring down the roughness just a little bit. Yeah, let's say maybe that's a little too much. Okay, here's a good example. So I want to make changes, go to edits, and maybe we'll just go 5. Yeah, so that's fine. And let's say we want to add, what do we want to add here? We've got, how about some flares? Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I like a little bit of this. So let's say we push this down here. And then we push this down. Just a little bit coming in maybe from the side here. Let's see. Yeah, maybe we'll just leave that. And you have to click back on the image if you want to make further changes. So, okay, I'm happy with this. Let's see what it looked like before and after. And as you can see, that only took a few minutes. And if I hadn't been talking about it, this would have taken even less time. So there's that. And if I go back here, okay, and let's say I wanted to save this as a preset. Very simple. Under action, go save as preset, change it to, name it whatever you want here, and boom, it's now saved as a preset, and it will be under my presets. Pretty straightforward. Now let's choose this image and let's work on some of the AI features. So for example, let's say I wanted to target just the building. Bring up, it's a bit dark over here, so let's say we go, let me see, okay, let's go under enhance, but now we're going to go mask, and we're going to go AI mask. So right now it's analyzing the photo, looking at what's where, and when it's done, which should be shortly, doesn't take too long, you'll have options to choose from. So okay, there we go. So let's say I wanted to target, in this case I want to target the building, so that will be architecture. The moment I select that, it will select just that. Now in my case, I only want to target this building, so I don't care about this building or anything here. So what we can do, we go right here, AI mask, we go back under brush and erase, and let's make this brush smaller, and let's just get rid of, let's turn this down. Okay, okay, let's get rid of all this here. All right, there we go. And now let's go to adjustment, and let's go to here, and let's bring this up. So you see how it's definitely bringing up the shadows there. Here's before, here's after. Boom. So there is that. Now if we go under develop and we go under mask, same thing. Let's go under EI, but now it doesn't need to rescan it already because it did it. And if we click on here, now in this case, let's leave it the way it is, and let's go under curves, because this is also a little bit too dark anyway, so let's work on this. Okay, bring this down a bit. Okay, there you go, that worked out nicely. So now if we take a look at before, after, boom. Now there's a good example of using the AI mask pretty quickly. Again, it took a minute to do, and it definitely enhanced the image, and now we can start working on the rest of the image. So for example, if I go back to enhance, now keep in mind this is another layer that will be added on top of this one right here, right? So let's say if I wanted to affect the overall image, there we go, maybe even the sky, bring it out, let's say structure, oh that's too much, okay, let's leave it there. Let's go landscape, let's make it really pop. There you go. Let's see what else we can, let's work on the dramatic one here. Too much, just add a little bit maybe. Yeah, just a little bit. And then under mood, let's see what else we got. Yeah, let's pick this one. Why not? Now let's use the sun rays, and we're going to place it here. There you go. I actually that works pretty nicely. And the way this works, it actually does look like it's breaking through the branches here, which is really nice. If you go before and after, so it does give it just a little bit of the just a feeling that, oh, the sun is trying to break through here. And now let's see if we want to add anything here. How about this time we try this one? Oh, look at that. Okay. Now that's a little too much. Let's definitely decrease. Yeah, maybe just a little bit. Okay, I think that works nicely. So there we go. If we go before, you've got a pretty bland, boring image, and boom, right there. And again, it took a few minutes. The AI feature worked very nicely, isolating objects, whatever it is that you need to work on, and there you go. That's Luminar NEO in a nutshell. Hey guys, so just a quick update. After I recorded this portion of the video, the tutorial portion, Luminar actually came out with an update. So that's always cool, but I want to make sure that's included here. So if we now go up to About, you now see this is 1.0.7, which is always good. Now, from what I can tell visually, it looks almost identical. The only thing added is this favorites portion. So basically, if you want to add something that you use quite a lot, let's say this erase one here, if you go add to favorites, now it's going to be up here, right? And if you don't want it, if you want to go remove, it moves back to down here. So just something to keep in mind. I mean, you don't have to use it at all. You can just stick to what was there before, and there you go, that disappears. And from what I can tell, everything else seems to be the same. However, there's quite a few under the hood updates, so that's always good.
So as you can see, this is a pretty sweet app. I've been using Luminar products now all the way since version 3. So I used Luminar 3, 4, Luminar IA, which I actually bought myself, and now Luminar NEO. So I have a lot of experience with this company, with this application, and all in all, as you saw, it's pretty sweet. This is an application that basically is designed if you need to get something done quickly, right? If you need to get it done quickly, you need to get it done well, this will do the job. So all good. The things that are lacking in it, and hopefully some of them will be introduced in software updates, is more tools that will help you to refine things, right? I've said this in one of my reviews of one of the versions. It will be lovely to have a pen tool, something where you can actually create a very fine mask, right? If you need to mask out something, if it's something very detailed, that kind of stuff. So that will be great to have, and just more tools that will allow us to be more detailed. Again, you can always run this thing as a plugin in Photoshop, right? So you can always use Photoshop's masking tools and everything, and then use this for its capabilities to do whatever you need to do, right? So combine the two, but obviously that requires you to have Photoshop, and if you don't have Photoshop, I mean, there's other alternatives, but you do need something else, right? So again, something to keep in mind. They have been releasing a lot of software updates. I think on average it's like once a month or so, which is good. As you saw in my video, by the time I recorded the screen video, the tutorial portion of it, they had already released one, right? So that's why I added that thing there. So that's good. Software updates are coming and all that stuff. You're definitely gonna have a great time with this. It will increase your workflow, no doubt about that. I just wish they had a few more tools to make things more, to help you get the fine details done. So that's that, guys. Links to everything will be in the description, so check those out. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, tell your friends, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more. Thanks.